Gonzaga Nation SI continues with another great episode with your two hosts, myself, Dan Dickau, as well as Adam Morrison, as we continue on this journey of providing great Gonzaga insight and commentary. Soon we will be having some guests. We've got some invites out there to former teammates of ours. It'll be interesting who's the first to accept. I'm sure Adam and I are both going to ask the hard-hitting questions. Is it the Bulldog Tavern? Is it Jack and Dan's? Is it Corkery? Is it Dussault? What dorm do you want to relive a day in? So without further ado, Adam, let's get right to it. This is a big week. It's Gonzaga WCC openers, first against USD and against LMU. Let's quickly talk about what you've seen in the non-conference. Give us a quick take. Was it a success or an unsuccessful non-conference?
I think it was a success. I mean, obviously, the Alabama game was a game that I feel like we didn't deserve to win, but I think the Duke game we had an opportunity to. I think we're up four with about 4.5 minutes to go, and there's that foul travel call on Chet that kind of changed the tide, I think, a little bit. But we went 3-2 against top 25 teams. I thought the Texas Tech game was a good add-on to the non-conference, but we did well, obviously, against Texas. And so I think all in all, I mean, obviously you want to win every single game, but I thought it was a pretty successful non-conference.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do think it was for the fan who knows how good some of those other teams and how difficult that schedule was. I would give it a B plus and A minus. I think for the fan that has outrageous expectations and they think the sky is falling, I think you need to take a step back and learn a little bit more about college basketball outside of the 6,000 seat kennel.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, 3-2, like I said, against top 25 is fantastic. Alabama's picked to win the SEC. They play a really fun style. That program's rolling. We didn't deserve to win that game. We weren't even really in that game for a while, except for the second half run. But the Duke game could have won, so we could be looking at 4-1 against the top 25. But all in all, I'm impressed with how this team has gelled together. Because you talk about at the start of the season, there's going to be growing pains. Well, you can't be mad when there are if you know that they're coming, right? So yeah. I think our guys have done a good job of kind of weathering the storm a little bit. There was a bad stretch there, obviously the Alabama game, but where they were just not playing crisp. There was a lot of turnovers, weren't shooting it well from beyond the arc. I think they've got that rectified. So for the most part, I thought it was your grade's right, like B plus, maybe an A minus, but B plus range non-conference.
Coach Few always breaks and compartmentalizes the season into a couple different things. A preseason tournament, non-conference schedule, the league, and then postseason. He has been on record saying more times than I can remember, he values each of the things, and obviously fans value NCAA tournament runs, but he might value regular season conference titles more than any coach that I can remember. Why do you think that is?
I think it's just maybe a sense of pride in the program, not allowing it to slip, I guess, in the sense of reminding the guys that this is just as important to get your seeding and to kind of assert your dominance on the West Coast, especially in the West Coast Conference. So I think he just kind of has done a good job of always, delivering that message of this is important as well. And it's not a knock on the WCC, but it's obviously not the Power 5 conference. So you kind of have to remind the guys like, hey, we own this conference, especially when BYU came in, like we need to set the tone and let everybody know that, we're the best team on the West Coast. And so I think he does a good job of kind of just doing that. And I think it's probably a sense of pride thing for him too. I mean, those are all-time records that probably won't be matched. Yeah. And he just keeps adding to it as far as coaching, in the West Coast Conference. So I think, it's multifaceted on why he finds value in it. But I think the most important thing is reminding his guys, like, we dominate this league and let's continue to do it.
Yeah. Dominating of the WCC is something they've done for, 22, 23 years now. It's pretty impressive. The league has gotten better, though. When you look at it right now, there are 4 teams, I think, if the season were to end right now, I think you'd have 4 teams in the NCAA tournament. Gonzaga, BYU, University of San Francisco, as well as St. Mary's. Of those three other teams, who's going to provide the biggest challenge to Gonzaga?
I always
Or
like to say
who's competing for second place? Let's put it that way.
I always like BYU, just their style on how smart and how hard those kids play it down there. But I mean, USF has always given us problems in the past. I think the last four games, if you really not counting maybe last year, the COVID year, but they almost beat us the four times. Remember the one down there when we had I think Rui's group and Brandon's group, they should have beat us. And then we had a couple other games where it was 6 to 8 points late. It's not the typical blowout that we've seen in the past few years with West Coast Conference. So I think San Francisco definitely has a chance, but I like BYU as well. But yeah, it's a battle to get on that other side of the bracket for the West Coast Conference tournament a lot of times for these teams. But hey, I mean, like you said, I think all four of those teams are counting ourselves are in the top 100 in the RPI or Ken Palm. So like the league has gotten a lot better, and we should celebrate that a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think the league analytically through Ken Palm, I think, is number 7. You're not going to crack the top 5. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Big East is number 6. So to be number 7, you're kind of at your ceiling, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. It's a great accomplishment for the league. Now the question is, can the league stay there? I think they will.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, BYU leaving is going to obviously leave a hole, and that'll be interesting to see if they fill that 10th spot. We've had 9 teams before, so I don't think the league's in a big hurry to do that. But that's definitely something that's going to detract a little bit from the success of the league, because BYU is a good program. It's a NCAA tournament team 2 out of 3 years, and then NIT that third year. So postseason type program. So it'll be interesting to see how these especially St. Mary's, but if San Francisco can continue trending up, because obviously that's a great area for basketball and recruiting. So they have the talent pool to keep kids there and build a successful program.
Well, we're going to talk really quickly on USD and LMU, but instead of talking about their current personnel, which I'm sure both you and I will do on one of our social media pages right before tip-off Thursday and Saturday, I want to ask you about your best performances in each of those 2 gyms, because you being a prolific scorer, I'm sure you got hot in one of those 2 gyms. So give us your best performance at USD as well as LMU.
I think USD, I think I had a mid-20s game, but we hit Earl Knight hit a game winner in the corner, which was fantastic memory of my junior year. And obviously I was probably supposed to take that shot, and they double teamed me or something like that. And ball ended up getting to Earl, and he wasn't a great 3-point shooter percentage wise, but he shot it right at the buzzer and made it. And they came down and had one possession, in a scramble and missed. And so that was probably my best moment in that gym. And then in LMU, everybody remembers that game my junior year. I had 37 in the second half, I think, and 44. So got hot there, and you had a good game there as well. So, it's a nice shooters gym, Hank's Place, and I enjoy going down there.
Yeah, you had to one-up me at LMU, that's for sure. I had 34 points all in the first half, 9 made threes. And people have asked me before, what was that like? And you would know, sometimes the ball just feels like it rolls off your hand perfectly. And you feel like the game slows down. You don't feel like you need any extra space. It's just you're in your own little world, your own little zone. I remember at the end of the first half of that game, I pulled up from probably about 32 feet in transition, shot it, and just kept running the locker room while Alex Hernandez and Anthony Reese were jumping on my back in the tunnel on the way to the locker room. So that would have been my Loyola Marymount experience. But the USD experience wouldn't have been against the Toreros. It would have been against either Pepperdine or Santa Clara in the NC or in the WCC tournament, because this was before the WCC tournament was played in Vegas. It was at the Slim Gym, Jenny Craig Pavilion down there. And so a lot of times we would go down, and for anybody in Spokane, it was great. You get like 6 days in San Diego in early March. It was amazing. But I remember having 2 good games, probably 26, 27 points in each of the games. One against Santa Clara at the end of my junior year to get us the NCAA tournament. And then the other one would have been against Pepperdine my senior year to win it. That's another fun gym. And it's disappointing, though, because both of those gyms I like them in different ways. But I've called games for other TV stations, and there'll be 500-600 people in the gym for those games. You go watch Gonzaga, sold out, standing room only, people scalping tickets outside. How fun is it to go into a gym now as a broadcaster and reminisce?
It is fun, especially, like I said, LMU, people down there are always, hey, remember that game? It's like, yeah, I appreciate it. It's cool to, to have that memory. So yeah, it's fun to go in some of these, but also, like you said, it's like, I think it was a little bit more, college basketball was a little bit more popular at certain times when you and I were playing. So that the buzz in some of these gyms was a little bit higher. And I think that's partly because we haven't beaten, the league wasn't beaten down by us for 20 years yet. So there's some like Gonzaga fatigue. And I really feel like some of the programs and gyms feel that way. Cause when you and I were playing, they thought that they could still beat us, and we weren't as talented. I mean, we were good teams, but we didn't have McDonald's All-Americans, all that stuff. Everybody knows that. So some of these programs, like the gyms, were like, yeah, we have a chance. Now you walk in and you can just see it like that. We don't have a chance tonight. And this is the only game I've been to all year. And we're going to leave with 5 minutes left to go in the game if it's not close and stuff like that. But it is fun to reminisce a little bit, just the good old days,
Yep. The quote of the show, you don't have a chance, with a head shake. That's Adam Morrison. I'm Dan Dickau. You've been listening to Gonzaga Nation SI. Again, check us out on all the social media platforms. We will be bringing you 2 shows a week through the rest of the basketball season, as well as other content. So check us out, and go Zags, right, Adam?
Yep, go Zags.